Hey friends, it's Sarah, and I want to talk about some of my favorite authors today. So I was looking at some of my favorite books or authors that I buy a lot of books from, and I thought it'd be kind of fun to do a bit of a tier ranking video where I talk about books that I really enjoyed, authors I've really enjoyed, and kind of, well, rank them and find which is my favorite author or which are my favorite authors, because I think there's probably going to be a few of them. But yeah, I just thought it'd be fun. I like tier ranking videos. They're fun to make. They're fun to watch. So let's just do it. Let's see what we think are my favorite authors. So I have a few different categories here. I got my laptop in my lap because I couldn't figure out how to film this better, but we'll make it work. It's okay. So my first top tier here is auto buy. So this is an author whose books I will buy as soon as they're announced to be pre-orderable. I don't really check what it's about. I'm just like, oh, they got a new book, order it. And I'm pretty sure I'll love it. Then the next level down is auto read. So this is an author whose books I will definitely read when they come out, but I might not buy them right away. I will definitely check them out. I'll put them on hold in the library, but I will not necessarily buy them right off the bat. I might buy them later when I'm like, oh yeah, I do love this, but I hold off at first. Then I have to check out. So this is someone who I've liked their books, and I'm like, maybe I'll kind of look through the backlist and see if I like their stuff, their other stuff as well. I don't necessarily read them right away, but if they have a new book coming up, I'm like, oh, I'll add it to my TBR and I'll get to it eventually. I'm excited about them, but I'm not it's not guaranteed to be a smash hit. Then we have hit and miss, where these are authors where I've loved some of their books and not had as good of a time with others. So it's the potential is there for me to really love them and for them to be a favorite author, but it doesn't hit every time. And then finally, I have a little nostalgia category. Think of me fondly for authors that I loved growing up, were really formative for me. And then I might still like their books, but I've probably moved past what they write now. And I don't even know if they're still writing, but there's just a couple ones that I wanted to talk about that I'm I don't know if I would necessarily buy their books now, but I love rereading them, and when I see them on my shelves, I'm oh, we had good times together. Also, so I've chosen pictures of the books because I don't know what authors look like. Does anyone know what most authors look like? No. But I've chosen books, and I try to kind of pick the book that made me fall in love with them, or kind of the iconic book in my mind of theirs that I really love. So first up here we have Racquel Vasquez Gilliland with How Moon Fuentes Fell in Love with the Universe. And I think this goes in my to check out category because I love this one. And then I read a couple of her other books and they were still really good, and they were 4 stars, but they weren't quite 5 stars. So she's not necessarily an auto read, but if I see she has something new coming out, I'll definitely add it to the TBR to check out later. Then we have Sarah Dessen, Along for the Ride. This is going in Think of Me Fondly. I have read, I think, all of Sarah Dessen's books, and I still enjoy them. I think they're a really good, teen romance books. She's a really good author. She writes kind of like Emily Henry, but for teens. Parsnip really wants to be fed, so you're going to hear a lot of meowing in the background as she screams at me. But she's wrong, because it's 3:46, and you get fed at 4:30. Yeah, so you just think about that. Yeah, so I still like her books, and if she comes out with something new, I think I would check it out. But this is mostly a nostalgia trip for me. I'm ugh, Sarah Dessen. Also, she hasn't written a new book in several years. Maybe I should put her in auto read. No, we'll leave her down here. Otherwise, I don't know if I'll have much of this category. Okay, up next, John Green, The Fault in Our Stars, iconic. He's actually become an auto-buy author. I think before he was kind of auto-read, after The Fault in Our Stars. No, actually I did auto-buy Turtles All the Way Down. I take it back. He's an auto-buy author ever since The Fault in Our Stars. I love that. I read some of his backlist. Didn't enjoy it quite as much, but I loved Turtles All the Way Down. I love Anthropocene Reviewed. It's one of my favorite books ever. And he's got a new book coming out this year called Everything is Tuberculosis. Talk about it in my most anticipated books of the year video, and I I really love John Green's books and his writing, and I like his like YouTube and everything too. I'm a big John Green fan. I think he's one cool dude, and so is his brother Hank. Okay, Every Summer After, Carley Fortune, Canadian author. She writes good romances, but she's going into hit and miss for me because Every Summer After I loved. Her second book, Meet Me at the Lake, did not love. That was, I think, 2 stars. And then I don't have her other one. This Summer Will Be Different. Her third book, absolutely loved it. And now I have her 4th book that I'm hoping to read on vacation. I talked about that in that video, but I'm hoping to love that one as well. But she can be real, like, her books are either 5 stars or 2 stars so far. So, we'll see. And then we have Sharon Creech. Sharon Creech with Chasing Redbird. This is another Think of Me Fondly. I have a lot of Sharon Creech books. I really love her stuff. I think she writes really interesting characters. She's writing about like teens, kind of usually in like the South, I think, of the States. And she just, I don't know, her books just really speak to me, and I really love them. And I like they've wormed their way kind of into my heart and into my brain. And like I think about, what's that one called? I think about the characters a lot. Like I still think about them in my everyday life, even though I haven't read them for a while. Although I did reread Chasing Redbird, I think last year, and it was still good, and it's so weird and like a little morbid. And I think if you read it, I think that's kind of like my personality. I'm like, I think this book was actually maybe a formative book in my life that I kind of didn't realize it shaped me the way that it did. But it's incredible. I love Chasing Redbird. I like her other books too, but this one has a real special place in my heart, and now I just want to reread it. This is a dangerous video for me to be making. Okay, then we have Marissa Meyer, author of the Cinder, like the Lunar Chronicle series, and is she an auto read? She did announce she's got a new book coming out. I think she might have become an auto read author for me last year, because I read the Lunar Chronicles and I love those, and I read Heartless and I really like that too, but I hadn't read any of her other stuff. And then this past year I read the Supernova series and like adored that, and I read what's the other one, is it Guild or Glint, her like Rumpelstiltskin inspired one, and I like that one as well, not quite as much, but like I think now she's become like an auto read. She announced a new book just, I think maybe today, based on like Bluebeard, the myth of Bluebeard, and that's going to be on my TBR. I don't think she's quite auto-buy because, like I said, that like Rumpelstiltskin one wasn't my favorite, but it was still good. And I like her I like her the like takes on classic fairy tales. I like the kind of like romantasy vibes that she's got going on. Like when I think romantasy, what I want romantasy to be, it's like the Lunar Chronicles. Okay, then we have Lois Lowry, The Giver. Maybe this should have been Number the Stars. I think this is maybe also a Think of Me Fondly. I read The Giver, I love that. I read Number the Stars, I love that. I think about that one all the time. I read the other books in the Giver series and they didn't hit quite as hard. And I don't know if I would necessarily read any new books that she would publish, but again, like, definitely those 2 books like were formative. I made my boyfriend read The Giver this past year and he also really loved it. I think that one's like a modern classic. But I really like Lois Lowry's books, the ones that I've read, and again, I don't know if I'd pick up any new books, but like I did love those books, and I do think about them frequently. Okay, then we have In My Own Moccasins, Helen Knott. I think she's an auto read. She's written 2 memoirs. I rated both of them 5 stars. They're both incredible, and I don't know if they'd be necessarily auto buy. Like I don't own In My Own Moccasins. I have what's it called? Becoming a Matriarch. That one was incredible. I got that as an ARC and it was really good. I think she's an auto read author. Just because like I'm not sure if she's not writing a memoir. I'm not sure if I would read. I'm not sure how her writing is outside of memoir. I don't even know if she would write outside of memoir. So this is all kind of speculation. But definitely, I really like how she writes. I think she writes with such emotion and like maturity and clarity, and I would definitely read whatever she writes. Okay, then we have Rachel and Solomon and Weather Girl. She's an auto-buy author, regardless if it's like her teen books or her adult books, I love her stuff. I think every book that she writes is better than the last one. Weather Girl was my like real favorite of her adult romances, and then like Today, Tonight, Tomorrow is my intro to her teen books. Both incredible. But yeah, I just buy all her stuff. I have her new one, What Happens in Amsterdam, pre-ordered already as soon as she announced that, and it was available online. I was like, buy it, give it to me. Then we have Chanel Miller with Know My Name. She's an auto read. She's only written this, and she wrote a 9 to 12 book, which was cute, and I did read that, and I thought it was fun, but it was not for me, obviously. It was for like 9 to 12-year-olds, so it did not hit me the way that Know My Name did, because I don't think anything could hit the way Know My Name does. But I do really, again, I love how she writes. I think, especially in Know My Name, she has this beautiful, like simple but beautiful way of writing, and I will definitely read anything else that she puts out. I think she's got a real like artist soul, and I like that. Okay, then we have Richard Wagamese's Ragged Company. This one's hard because unfortunately Richard Wagamese did pass away several years ago, so it can't be auto buy, because okay, I guess it could be. It's like, would I buy any book of his that I see in a shop? Maybe. Yeah, I think he's going to an auto buy, because I have bought several of his books that I've just kind of like seen on the shelves and been like, ooh, I'll just like take that home and read it eventually. I am slowly working my way through his backlist a little bit at a time. And I just love his books. Ragged Company was my favorite of his so far, but I read Dream Wheels a couple years ago, and that was also incredible. So yeah, I think I just like buy all his books, because again, writes so beautifully, writes with such emotion about, and like with such humanity, and his characters are so human and so flawed and so excellent, and I just, yeah, he's really good. He was a really good writer, and I am sad that I didn't discover his work until after he had passed. Okay, then we have Benjamin Alire Sáenz with Aristotle and Dante Discover Secrets of the Universe. He's also an auto-buy author. Aristotle and Dante is my favorite book of all time, I think. And the books that he's only written, I think he's only written 2 books since that, but I bought both of them. I mean, one was a sequel, so of course I was going to buy the sequel to the Aristotle and Dante. But I bought his other one too, and I just love his writing. Again, beautiful writing. He was originally started out as a poet, so he writes, it's like poetry, but doesn't read like poetry, if that makes sense. Like, it's very lyrical, it's beautiful. Again, like such human characters. I have a like core memory of reading Aristotle and Dante in the summer, whenever that was that I read it. I think it was like 2014. I was in the hammock in my parents' backyard reading the end of that book, and then I just cried in my parents' hammock in the backyard, and it was incredible. It was really good. Okay, then we have Joseph Fink and Jeffrey Cranor with Welcome to Night Vale. I think they're also going in to check out. I love the Welcome to Night Vale podcast. It's so good. And I just this past year read You Can Feel It Just Below the Ribs, written by, I think it was Jeffrey Cranor and Gina Matthews, which was also incredible, and I love that one a lot too. But I've tried to read Alice Isn't Dead. Actually, I haven't really tried. I've got it out from the library a few times, read like the first couple pages, been like, this sounds kind of interesting, and then for some unknown reason, put it down. So I definitely like will look at their stuff. Whatever they write, I will take a look at, because I think their minds work in very odd ways, and they write weird stuff that really appeals to me and I really enjoy. But not everything has been a 100% slam dunk. So that's the caveat of why it's down there. Emily Henry Beach Read auto buy. I love Emily Henry. Everyone loves Emily Henry. This is like the most popular opinion on the book internet, I think. Emily Henry's great. Every time she announces a new book, I just say, yes, queen, whatever you say, queen, and I buy it. I'm subscribed to her. email newsletter that's literally called Emily's Grocery List, and every time she writes it, I'm like, hell yeah, what do you got, girl? Emily Henry, she writes, I think, books specifically for me, except everyone feels that way about her. So obviously I'm just a basic bitch, but it's true. Emily Henry's great. Okay, that went off the deep end. But Molly Knox Ostertag, who writes beautiful graphic novels, primarily in the 9 to 12 and like teen category. I think she is an auto-read author for me now, especially with The Deep Dark. I'd read a couple of her other graphic novels before and enjoyed them and liked the art, but The Deep Dark made me cry, and so now I'm just gonna read anything that she writes because I love it. It's good. Graceling by Kristen Cashore. I think this is hard. Kristen Cashore is kind of in between these two. I think I'll add it to 2 checkout because the Graceling series is an auto buy. Anything she writes in that series is an auto buy because she wrote the first 3 and I love those. And then she wrote a 4th one and I was like, oh my god, this is also incredible. And then she wrote a 5th one and I'm like, this one is even better. So if she writes a 6th one, like, you know, I am going to be giving her my money. However, I read Jane Unlimited by her and I didn't enjoy that one as much. And then this year I read her pandemic book called There is a Door in This Darkness. And while it was good, it wasn't quite as good as Graceling. So for that reason, I think if she writes more like contemporary books, those kind of go on the back burner. Whereas if she writes more fantasy and like more installments in the Graceling series, sign me up. I'm there. I am seated. The bookstore employees are trying to make me leave, but I am too seated. Kenneth Oppel, This Dark Endeavor. I think this might go into 2 check out. It could also be Think of Me Fondly. 2 check out. I think maybe Think of Me Fondly. Because I think everything in this category is kind of also in the like 2 check out category of like, if they wrote something new, I would probably end up reading it, even if it wasn't necessarily the kind of book that I normally would read in my current era. But I really like Kenneth Oppel's stuff. This Dark Endeavor series was great. The like Young Frankenstein ones. I also liked Half Brother. That was incredible. Like 8 years ago or something, he came out with, I can't remember what it's called, but it was about archaeology, and I went and like listened to him speak and got him to sign my book, and that was really cool and great, and I liked that a lot. And then I also read the like Silverwing series, and that one was good, but it didn't hit me as hard. But then I liked his what was it called? Matt Cruz series. So most of his stuff I quite enjoy, and it is very nostalgic for me. And he's Canadian, which is really cool. I think he writes good books for me. But it is like primarily a nostalgic kind of thing. Okay, Xiran Jay Zhao, also an auto-buy author. They're also Canadian, which is fun. But I really loved Iron Widow. I have the 2nd book in the series to read. I remember finding out that it's supposed to be a trilogy, and I was like, friend, why have you done this to me? Because I don't remember Iron Widow, because that came out like 4 years ago, or something crazy like that. And now this one's come out. No, I think it was 5 years ago. I'm pretty sure Iron Widow was a 2020 release, and Heavenly Tyrant got pushed back several years, and now I'm gonna have to wait several more years for the 3rd one. But I'll definitely be buying. I shouldn't say that. I haven't read Heavenly Tyrant yet, but I am like 90% sure I'll buy the 3rd book. And then I read the first of their 9 to 12 series, the first and only one, Zachary Ying and the Dragon Emperor, and also love that. So yeah, I really like how their mind works. I think they write really cool, like sci-fi fantasy for the youths, and for the youth at heart that I am, even though I am approaching my 30s. Yeah, Parsnip is very upsetting. Andrew Joseph White with The Spirit Bears Its Teeth. He's going into auto read. This is an interesting one because I am a little baby. If you are not familiar with my reading tastes, I don't read horror usually. I am very scared. I am very squeamish. I am an infant deep inside. And I read Hell Followed With Us, and I really enjoyed that. And then I read The Spirit Bears Its Teeth, and I was like, oh my god, new author obsession. And I read Compound Fracture last year, and that was also incredible. So I will definitely read whatever Andrew Joseph White puts out. He does have an adult horror book coming out with like pregnancy horror, which speaks to me. One of my greatest fears, just a fun little fact, is pregnancy. So I don't ever want that. But yeah, I think that one's going to be too much for me. I'll try reading it, but I think it's going to be too scary for me. But any teen book that he writes, I will 100% read, because even though they're like gory and like body horror, they're also really good. The characters are amazing. The plots are really good. And those scrappy teenagers, I love them. I love the scrappy teenagers that he writes. They're so good. All My Rage, Sabaa Tahir, I think is somewhere between to check out and auto read. Ow! Ah, you have sharp claws. Okay, I think we're going into to check out. No, I think it's going to auto read. I liked the Ember and the Ashes series. I adored All My Rage. And then I read Air, and that was also really good. So I think I would just, whatever else she puts out, I will read, because I do enjoy her writing style. I've read both the fantasy and the contemporary, enjoyed both of them. So I think she's a new auto read author. It's taken me a minute. I've been a little behind on the times, on the like Sabaa Tahir hype, but I'm here for it. I feel it, and I'm joining the bandwagon. Mary Roach, I think is going to go to checkout. I just read a couple of her books last year, Stiff, and I also read Packing for Mars, and she's a really fun like pop science writer, and I love her sense of humor and how she writes about things, and I'm definitely like going back into her backlist to read some of her other books that she's written. So I definitely want to read more of her books. I don't know if she's still writing or not. I think she wrote a book that came out in like 2023. But I'll definitely keep reading her stuff because I really enjoyed it. The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary. Beth O'Leary is Beth O'Leary is a hit and miss author who is like, I will read her books. She's almost an auto read, but a couple of her books I just did not vibe with. So I love The Flat Share. That was so good. I enjoyed The Switch. I thought that was cute. Did not really like The Road Trip. Enjoyed and then did not enjoy The No-Show. If you've read that book, you know what I mean. No, I'm sorry, it was the other way around. So I love The Flat Share. I think you're really cute, Parsnip. I love The Flat Share. I enjoyed The Switch. I didn't really enjoy The Road Trip that much. And then The No-Show, I was like, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. Okay, fine. And then I love The Wake Up Call again. So she's all over the map for me. I don't think she's quite as extreme as Carley Fortune, but I do think she kind of lives in the 2 to 4 star range, which is why she's in the hit and miss. We'll probably read her books that come out, but they're not always fabulous. Casey McQuiston, another auto-buy author. I think they're really cool. One Last Stop was like my favorite of theirs, but all of their stuff I really like. I enjoy how they write side characters. I like how they write romance. I think they have a really good way of writing dialogue that feels really modern and like now without being like dated. Like I don't think you like read it and are like, oh, that's like a real like specific 2012 meme. But they write I feel like they write the youth slang really well without it seeming dated. But maybe I'm just old and I'm wrong. I don't know. Then we have Brian Selznick, The Marvels, I really loved. He is an auto read author. I never thought I would put him on here. I remember reading The Invention of Hugo Cabret when I was younger and being like, yeah, it's fine. And then I read The Marvels and was just like bowled over by it. I thought it was so good. I read Wonderstruck and that was good too. Kaleidoscope and Big Seed both made me cry. So, and I have an arc for his like first teen book that's coming out later this year that I have to read as well. But I really like his stuff. I think he writes with such tenderness and care and like looks at humanity with such a beautiful lens. And then also he of course has his beautiful like drawings. They're always like part graphic novel, part like normal novel. And I really like his stuff. I didn't really ever see that coming, but when I think about his books, I'm just filled with this sense of joy and warm fuzzies. So yeah, he's got to be up here. Alix E. Harrow, another one whose newsletter I'm subscribed to. I love her writing. Again, a lot of these are like, I like how they write, like their writing style. Like a lot of them are poetic, and she's another one I just love. She writes like kind of lyrically, and not like purple prose exactly, but like a bit more on that kind of side of things. But I love it. It works for me so well. Her newsletters are great. I just want to like live inside her brain. I just want to be like a little passenger in her brain and like go around with her and be like, what do you think of things? Tell me. I want to devour your thoughts. Not in a creepy way. But I love Once and Future Witches. I read it and I was like, this is incredible. And I read the 10,000 Hours January and I was like, this was also good. But then I read the Starling House and I was like, this is incredible. I read the Six Deaths of the Saint and that's amazing. And I can't wait for her new books coming out in the next couple of years. Okay, Mimi Matthews with The Siren of Sussex. I think this is a 2 checkout. I really enjoyed the Bells of London series. I still haven't read the last one yet. But like Siren of Sussex was my favorite of the series, but I really enjoyed these historical romances. I haven't read her other stuff, like I haven't gone through her backlist yet, but I definitely want to check out more of her romances and see if it's just like this particular series that I like, or if I like more of her writing, because I love her historical romances. They're really good, they're really swoony, they're not super spicy, and she's got some great characters, so we'll see. Taylor Jenkins Reid, Daisy Jones and the Six. Taylor Jenkins Reid is also an auto-read author because Daisy Jones and the Six I've reread several times and it lives in my brain rent-free, and I love The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo as well. But Malibu Rising was like, it was fine, it was good, but it didn't stick with me the same way. Carrie Soto was also really good. So I will definitely read, like I want to read her new one that she has coming out this year, The Atmosphere. Sounds really good, sounds really interesting, but I won't buy it right away because I'm like not sure, you know? It's not like a guarantee like gonna be perfect for me. So while I love her stuff, it's not quite like a guarantee I'm gonna love this book. Alice Oseman, Heartstopper, also an auto read. Like the Heartstopper series, amazing, incredible, show-stopping, heart-stopping, makes me cry, makes me believe in love. I mean, I'm in love, but like makes me believe in love still even more. I enjoy Alice Oseman's books as well. Like I really liked Radio Silence. I loved Loveless. That one was really good. But I think Alice Oseman's just like just auto read because I can't afford to buy all the Heartstopper books and you can read them for free on Webtoons. Shout out. So I just do that instead. But yeah, definitely whatever Alice Oseman puts out, I will read. Italo Calvino with Marco Valdo. This is also to check out. I read If on a Winter's Night a Traveler, and I thought that was so interesting. And I've been kind of just like going through and reading different Italo Calvino books, and they've all been really good. What do I have over there? I did read 6 Memoirs for the Next Millennium, which was like an unfinished series of essays that he was going to like deliver as a series of lectures. And that one didn't hit as much, but it's like a really different, it's not his fiction, so I kind of forget about that one. But Marco Valdo was like really good. It was funny. He's just, yeah. I read, I can't remember what it's called, but I think it's called like The Baron in the Trees or something like that, where this guy runs away and is like, I'm gonna live in the trees forever now, and just like lives in the trees and like hops around and visits people and like grows up and is like in the trees, and they're just like really silly and I really enjoy them. They're just like kind of quirky and it's just fun. It's fun. I like it. Tia Williams, 7 Days in June. Tia Williams is another hit and miss author. 7 Days in June was incredible, and again, one that I think about frequently as like a top tier romance. So good, so emotional and tender, and I loved it. But then I tried to read another one of her books. I tried to read 2 of her other books, and they just did not hit for me. I had to stop. One had like a weird age gap that I didn't like, and then the other one was, I don't know, maybe I should try it again. But I tried to read her newest one, The Love Song for Ricky Wilde, and it just, I don't know, I wasn't really feeling it, so I stopped reading it. But whatever she put in 7 Days in June, whatever she did to that book, I want her to just do it again, because that book is really good. It's like a top tier romance for me. But her other ones just didn't have that same magic. So, I don't know. We'll see. The Tea Dragon Society by Kay O'Neill. Auto buy or auto read? I think maybe auto read, just because graphic novels are kind of expensive for how quickly I can read them. I did end up buying the Tea Dragon series because I love them so much. And I did get an arc of their newest graphic novel, and that was incredible too. I do love everything they do. Again, like, they have such cool fantasy, their art is so beautiful, and they just have a really interesting, like, ideas wrapped in these beautiful kind of like cozy fantasy graphic novels aimed at 9 to 12 and teen readers. So definitely an auto read and often a buy afterwards. Angeline Boulley with Firekeeper's Daughter. She's kind of hovering between the two. I have purchased both of her books and read them and enjoyed them. But I feel like, this is going to sound really bad, I think if the covers weren't so beautiful, she'd be an auto-read author, but because she has incredible cover designs, I'm like, even if I don't like it, which never happens, I have liked both of her books a lot, but I'm like, even if I don't like it, the book is beautiful. Yes, I do judge books by their cover sometimes, and I'm a little bit vain that way, but I think she's an auto-buy author. Like, her books are really good. I have really enjoyed them. They're really good Indigenous thrillers for teens, but like, that cover art just kind of tips her over to the where I'm like, I'll probably like it. It's like almost guaranteed, and I want to have that cover on my shelf, so I'll just buy it. Ngozi Ukazu, check please. Again, an auto read, like, she should be auto buy. If it's check please related, auto buy. Otherwise, auto read, just because graphic novels are expensive and I read them really quickly, and like, check please stayed with me. I read it over a long period of time, and so like, I love that. I love the characters. She writes really good characters. I like her art. But I just have a hard time shelling out a lot of money for graphic novels, even though I think they are worth the money. It's like, unless I'm going to reread it a lot, I tend not to buy them. So like, check please, I own them. They were like, I bought them through supporting her Kickstarters, but I seriously consider buying like the traditionally published ones all the time as well. But like, I want to buy Mouse because I am currently rereading that and it's incredible. So graphic novels like that, where I'm like, I know I want to revisit them, I tend to buy, but ones where I'm like, this was really good and I loved it, but I don't think I'll look at it again, I tend not to buy because it's expensive and I only have so many shelves. Okay, Margaret Owen I think is going into auto buy because I love the Little Thief series and the last book is coming out and I did pre-order it. And this past year I read her Merciful Crow series and just love that as well. So I think she's got that special sauce that just like, I'm like, you're writing for me, girl. You and me, we're on the same wavelength. We've got those characters, the like real messy girls who are like the main characters. I love them. She's great. I love her books. She's also an incredibly talented illustrator. Whatever she writes, I will read and buy. Finally, we have Neal Shusterman with Scythe, and that is going into checkout because the Scythe series was incredible and I loved that series. However, I have not read any of his other books. I own one of them. I own Challenger Deep. I found it at a thrift store and I want to read that. And I do want to read his new one. But I have only read the Scythe series, so I cannot say for certain whether or not he is a new favorite author. But I definitely really enjoyed the way that he builds a sci-fi world. I think he thinks really thoroughly through his world and like all the things that might come up in it. So 1,000,000 kisses. And I hope his other books are so much a Scythe, because if they are, then he would definitely be bumped up this list. But yeah, so I'm gonna take a little look at it. This feels right. This is my final ranking of favorite authors. My top authors, we have John Green, Rachel Lynn Solomon, Richard Wagamese, Benjamin Alire Sáenz, Emily Henry, Xiran Jay Zhao, Casey McQuiston, Alix E, Harrow, Angeline Boulley, and Margaret Owen. And that feels right. I think that's right. And like, I feel like the ones in the second tier could also kind of like nudge their way up there. Like Ngozi for Check Please, she could like be in the favorite too. Anyways, yes, this is my final ranking. But let me know if any of your favorite authors made an appearance on this list. And thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you next time. Have a great book! Let me know if you have any of the same favorite authors. I'm sure Emily Henry's probably on some of your lists because she's got good words. Yep. That's how we say things on this channel.